then we'll see the option here called calendar. Okay. If we click on calendar, this is where you can schedule meetings, you can do quick meetings, you can attend meetings and everything. It's very easy to set up a meeting. You could do a new meeting at the option at the top right here, and you can give it a topic, put invite people. You can also invite people outside your company. Just do meetings, and it would automatically send them an email once you create the meeting. All right, it's very similar to creating meetings on any other platform, Zoom, Google Meet, and whatnot. Okay, and when we go down to Teams, to calls, this mainly works when you have Teams telephony. If your company wants to set up a phone system, okay, Teams allows you to do that, but you need specific licenses to use Teams phone system. This way you can call phone numbers. I can call people using their telephone numbers directly from here. If this feature is enabled by your organization for you. Okay. And then we also have an option here called files. This is where you can search for all the files in your personal OneDrive or in a specific group drive, okay, which is on SharePoint. As you can see, the files on my OneDrive, you can also see them available here. Just to explain to you how connected all the technologies, all the applications in Microsoft 365 are. Okay, if I decide to share a file in the group as well, let's say I share a blank file, uh, so I share a file from my computer, so I share this file, and I send it to the group. Okay, I should be able to access it under here as well. Okay, since this is my files, let's open this. Copy the link here. There's the same thing. And it just takes me to Teams. Okay, so the files that you share in your Teams channel is stored in a different location because this is a group. So it's stored in SharePoint under the group drive. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a bit. Okay, because this is shared in the group, at the top here you'd see files option beside the post. Here you can see all the files that you share within that group. Okay, and you can always click on open in SharePoint to look at if you want to see more detailed description of the drive and all the data that is there. All right, we're still going to go into SharePoint in a bit. SharePoint and OneDrive are very similar. Okay, they work hand in hand, and like I said, OneDrive is personal, is a personal drive, but SharePoint is more on the organization side, and it's where everything is stored at the end of the day. But it's more it's a bigger application, which we're going to look into once I leave here now. Okay, so this is just to show you what the user sees, and this is what you would see as a user if you join a company and you're onboarding a new user. As you can see, I didn't need to do anything. The only thing I did as an admin is to create the user and assign the license. Okay. One thing that I haven't shown you is the email, right? I mentioned that Outlook is the email, the mailbox of the user. So what I'm going to do is open Outlook, which will automatically open up the user's mailbox for me to access. All right. So the license allows us to create mailboxes. And, this is the user's mailbox, just like your Gmail, but this is, from the company, managed by the company. All right. What is the email address? It's the same as what you use to sign in, Bender Jackson at 365 NGU. and it works. If you want to confirm if it works or not, I can send myself an email just to show you that it actually works. Okay, I send myself an email. This is address. It's a test email. Test in email setup for new user. Okay, and I send this to my Gmail. All right. Once that's sent, I can see it's under the sent items, just like your normal mailbox. And I can check my mailbox here to see if I actually got the email. Okay, here it is. I'm just going to pull my Outlook here. And you can see that Ben Jackson has sent me an email. Okay, testing email setup for the new user. As you can see, this is the user account, right? And this is my personal email. And you can see that the email account is working. If I respond to this and say, thank you, this is acknowledged, verified. So this is administrators usually do this so they can confirm that the account is working perfectly. And here we go. So the user automatically receives the email, and if you go to inbox, you would see that yes, the user can actually send and receive emails, which means the email account is working perfectly. Okay, so that's verified. All right, you can play around with this, set up emails and see how it actually works. There's a lot more intricate things in this, so do make sure that you read up on the features and how to, try your hands on new things and understand and play around with the applications itself and see the things that you can put together. All right, so that's majorly most of the major applications that you use on a day-to-day. We have a lot more applications that you can play around with. There is also SharePoint. So I'm going to click on SharePoint here, so you can take a look at how SharePoint works. Now, because the user is added to a group, okay, you would be able to access the group folder. You can just search for it. It's training users. Should be here. It's 1 minute. That's your OneDrive. All right, here we go. Little. Okay. So here is the group data or the group directory in SharePoint where all the files are stored. You can see the members. You can give accesses to certain users. You can, just look at the same structure, which is the same as what is on Teams, what is on the admin center as well. This is what the user sees because the user is the admin of this group. That is why. Okay. If I click that, I should be able to access the site on my own page. Where is it? I guess it's still loading, but that's fine. Let's work on something else. You can also create a new directory or a new site, as we put it, internally for your users. It's like you have a personalized intranet that only the employees of your organization can access, just to share maybe newsletters and things like that. And each user has the ability to do that. But do keep in mind that the administrator of the company, of the IT of the company, can always remove accesses or grant specific accesses as required by the organization. So if we do create a site here, you see there are two types of sites. You have a team site, which automatically creates a Teams group that will be visible on Teams, or if you create a communication site, which would automatically create a group, but it will not be available on Teams. It will only be available on SharePoint, right? And then you can share files and all of that. It's very easy. You can, play around with this. If I say create a communication site, you could just give it a name. Just, if you want to just use it as a uh, file directory for a certain database or whatever. So we could just do archived folder. If you want to keep things that files that are not required anymore or of users that have left the company, you can just save it as archived. We can create that, and it will automatically create, you know, more or less like a website, but internally only the users in the organization can access it. You can always limit the access by specifying site access. All this is very very wide, so you need to read up on each of the applications and get familiar with, everything one at a time, and you get better and better as you have hands-on of these things. It's all detailed in the documentation. You can just go online in Microsoft and search for, oh, how do I do this in SharePoint, or how does this connect to each other? I will share with you a link that you can use to learn deeper in this if I haven't shared it already, just so you can get more information on the capabilities of these applications and how they work. Okay. All right. So here you would see the document directory where you can share files with the members of your company or your team or whatnot. And this is different from a team site, because in Teams that site, that group will not be available. But if I go to my admin center and I go to groups, it should be available there. Let's see. Go to SharePoint admin, active sites. All right, there we go. So we can see this is the admin side. I'm gonna take a look at that later. Let me just minimize this and focus on the user aspect. So this is what the user sees, and this is how they, would be able to access all of their applications and whatnot at work, and just begin working. Once they have all this accessible, they can start their day-to-day work in the new jobs. All right, so this is what the user see. This is the user perspective of everything. Okay, now let's go back to the admin, because the admin is why we're here majorly. I just wanted to show you what the user that you create sees on their hand if they're correctly provisioned. Okay, so I'll minimize that. Minimize this. Let's go back to hello admin. All right, now for every service that we have on Microsoft 365, there is something we call an admin center for each of them. Okay, I mentioned that we have uh, Office 365, which includes Office, uh, Outlook, not Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. Give me one. Okay, in this case, we have Exchange. Exchange Online is uh, the service that manages the mailboxes. We have SharePoint, which is what I just showed you earlier, and we have Teams. So these are all admin centers that are available. There are much more admin centers depending on what service. If you want to see all of them, you can just click admin center underneath here. And you will see all the admin centers that are available to manage each of the services. Okay. As I mentioned in the presentation, I said you can manage your uh, security, right? Under the security admin center, which we're gonna just look at briefly, because we're running out of time, as well as other applications admin center. And the two that I'm gonna work on today, or the three, is Exchange and Teams.